So, we're good now? Sorry.
That's okay.
So talk to me about how you discovered Unlearn and what you've been doing with Unlearn.
So this year, my role in the school changed. I became a guidance teacher. And a couple of years ago, I sat with a staff member and we felt like something was missing from our school. So we came up with our list of Maverick's kind of character attributes or character traits. So that was kind of the jumping off point for me this year in getting involved in Unlearn is typically we would have assemblies for these character things, but this year because of COVID we couldn't get together. So I was figuring out some resources and I came across the Unlearn posters in our school and how powerful it was to get student voice and input in what the designs meant, what they saw in them, and they tied in really nicely. So for example, when we talked about vision this year, we had a little minds on with, Colin Kaepernick and Greta Thunberg, and we were able to come back to Colin and Greta with some of your Unlearn posters. So we came back to that with the poster of the black and white figures looking through the police or the aviator glasses, and kids were able to make the connection between, what Colin Kaepernick was fighting for and what the Unlearn poster was maybe trying to say to them. And then to bring it back to Greta, we looked at one of the more environmental themed posters. And this year, it's been a pretty heavy couple of weeks for our students. And it's kind of tough to broach these conversations sometimes. So the Unlearn posters provide a really soft entry for kids to start a conversation, to start thinking about things. So with the news of what happened in London over the weekend, I felt like I couldn't not say anything because I needed my students to know that I was here if they needed something or if they needed to talk or digest or anything. So I used the Turtles one, and we were also able to bring that back to Turtle Island and Indigenous cultures, and it's come it was a really rich conversation starter. So yeah, it's been a great way to start conversation in our school.
Thank you for sharing. Wow, I love how you're bringing what's happening in the world around us into your classroom. Yesterday you got my attention. I don't always see notifications on my phone, but something popped up, I think it was on Twitter, and it was that turtle design that you brought in. I think you were talking about how you took a pause from, was it math?
Mm-hmm.
To unpack that design, and I'm going to bring up, I actually took some screenshots. I was so moved by what you had done with that. And the statement, so, and I quote, you wrote, "Today we took a pause from math learning to discuss what we are familiar with about religion and what we still need to learn." This wasn't scripted, by the way. I was really moved by this. My wonderful grade 8s noticed the turtles in a circle. They saw religious symbols. They made connections to Turtle Island and how we are all people coexisting together on Earth. They wondered why one turtle didn't have a symbol and if this activity was to talk about what happened in London. Many thought we needed to unlearn that religion can make people good or bad, or that some religions are better than others. To our Muslim friends and families, we see you and support you in your grief. We want to help make this world safe for you. Thank you to Unlearn. Thank you always to Unlearn for providing us with such a rich and safe platform for discussion. And so, I'm not very good on I think this was...
I think that was Instagram.
Instagram.
Yeah.
So it showed up on my feed and it disappeared, and I didn't know how to find it. So I spent a good 45 minutes trying to find it so I could get a screenshot of it. And then when I looked to see who it was, I'm like, it's an educator at Margaret Avenue School. I had no idea. And we're now connected. Incredible. And you closed it by saying, I'd like to take a moment to express my deepest sympathies for any students and their families who are impacted or affected by hate crimes in London, Ontario on Sunday evening. Just so powerful. This is too close to home for anyone who is still unsure about the existence of racism and Islamophobia in Canada. I urge you to think deeply about the 3 generations of a family that were murdered just 1 hour away from where we live. And it goes on. Just thank you for that. Sometimes we're so focused on curriculum, But sometimes we need to take a pause and start to unpack what's happening in the world around us. So I was moved to tears, and I don't know if you know, it was the 20-year death anniversary of my father yesterday. So just that popping up, it was so serendipitous, and for us to meet here by chance, Savannah, thank you for making this happen. To think that these conversations are happening. You know, I was in these halls 35 years ago. I was playing in that gymnasium 35 years ago, and I was just so moved by educators like yourself and Savannah as well. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.